I thought Goofy's How to Be a Detective would be quite a lot like the rest of the How To series of Goofy shorts, but this one is actually a bit more of a narrative. It's a lot more detailed than I expected, but having said that, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought, because I love things about detectives. I love detective shows. It wasn't bad at all, just maybe not necessarily what I'd hoped for. It was released in 1956, directed by Jack Kinney, and stars Pinto Colvig, of course, as Goofy, and we also have Billy Bletcher and June Foray voicing, and it's narrated by Alan Reed. So it's not entirely different to the How To series, but I feel like it's definitely got a lot more of a narrative and a lot more characters than the usual How To Goofy. Goofy is hired to solve a mystery of a missing individual, and he is searching the city, trying to detect things, but he keeps bumping into this sheriff, played by Pete. Pete is definitely the perfect character to play that role, to be the sheriff, and he keeps getting in the way of Goofy doing his detective work and keeps telling Goofy to just let the police handle it. Will Goofy solve the crime? Will Pete get his way and Goofy will be asked to no longer detect things? Will we learn much about being a detective? Well, with regards to learning much about being a detective, it's definitely stereotypical. He's wearing a kind of very typical detective's outfit, and his magnifying glass, and everything's very cliche and exactly what you'd expect from a 1950s cartoon about a detective. But that's fun. It works well. It's recognizable both to me and to also a younger audience. I think it's important to have characters that are recognizable. There are reasons why stereotypes with cartoon characters exist, because it makes it easier for the children to relate to who they are and to understand what that character is doing. Goofy in this one, now Goofy is not my favourite character. Definitely not my favourite Disney character. But his actions were fine. His motivations made sense. He's very curious as an individual, so I feel like he fits the role of being a detective. He's also quite a clumsy individual, and that works well with the narrative, I think. Pete, being the sheriff, worked very well. Brilliant casting, if you like. It was a little bit funny, quite quirky, just not necessarily what I was looking for. How to Be a Detective is pretty good fun. If you're a fan of Disney, I'd definitely say give it a watch.